as a hardware company. Wrong, right? What they built is just the bare minimum amount of hardware needed to turn your activity into a software problem. The product that you buy is not the sensor. The product you buy is all the data that results from your use of the sensor. And so this is really interesting, right? So what you end up with is this notion that in the world of software people, minimalism is key as we relate to the physical world. Because minimalism maintains the flexibility in our software. Right? And you'll see this time and time and time again. And whenever you see companies do this, you say, oh, I know their game plan. These are software people sucking more of the world into computers and solving problems with software. So let's take a look at a few of the differences between software people and not software people, right? It's sort of interesting. You have a remote control for your cable box, right? Not software people making that thing. Look at all those buttons. It's never going to do anything new in its whole life. It's going to throw it away one day. Whereas software people designed that. Why? Well, yes, it's hardware, but what this does is it actually moves all the smarts of this thing into where it should be, which is software. It's just a few buttons, the minimal thing needed to bridge the physical world of your lazy-ass finger on the couch into the world of software. The Apple TV gets software updates all the time, adding new functionality and new capabilities and new channels. That's the power of software. Let's take a look at another industry, right? I talked about it before. This is how you used to do credit card payments at a store. That device, while there is software running in it, is not software people. Why? Because what do you think? You buy that thing and it's going to do one thing for its whole life until you throw it away. And again, software people build this. They build Square. They know that the minimal bridge from the world of hardware into software is what's needed, and then they can ship weekly updates to the Square app to add new functionality, to fix bugs, to make the thing better, and be very agile about it. That's software at work. Let's look at another example. Your home thermostat. Not software people. How many people know how to operate their thermostat? Not me. This is what software people do. You have to have some amount of hardware there, but then everything else is implemented in software. So the hardware, all it is a knob. Everything else is software. That's what software people do. Let's look at another example, right? This is the most popular cell phone in the world in 2006, right? Not software people. Why? It's all about the hardware. And as Steve Jobs got up and introduced the iPhone, he showed us there's no buttons on the thing. Why is that? Because we're software people. Because we're going to preserve the maximum amount of flexibility in this device and turn all of its functionality into software. It's pretty powerful. Let's take another look, though. Let's take a look at what enterprise solutions are selling in this space, right? So you've got Cisco selling you this. You probably have something that looks something like this on your desk back at work, right? Look at all those buttons. How many of you actually know what any of those buttons do? Right? The only ones you know what they do are like 0 through 9, right? Those are the only buttons you ever use on that thing. But your IT department probably paid $1,000, maybe $2,000 on that thing. But what's so interesting is you might be saying, but wait, Jeff, Cisco employs 30,000 software developers. That's more than Twilio. How can you say that they are not a software company, right? My answer to that is sort of clear, and I'll do my best Jeff Foxworthy impersonation, which is, you might not be a software person when, this is how you scale that out. And this isn't a joke. This is the most recent modern product release from Cisco about how they scale out your office phone system. This photo was taken directly from their website. I swear to you, I did not Photoshop it. You're not a software person when this is how you think. When software people think of telephones, they think of what's the bare minimum I need to bridge the real world and push everything else into software, and this is a software person's telephone. The headset and the microphone. That's all you need to be a telephone in the world of software. And so when I say you have this minimal hardware implementation, that preserves the power of software. That's what I mean. And this is where the world is going, in industry after industry after industry, right? So when I say more and more of the world's problems are addressable by software people, this is the trend I'm talking about. We're sucking more and more of the world from the real world and moving it into the domain of software. And the traits that you'll see when it happens are people building these bridges, but keeping them minimal so that software flexibility is what's key. So moving on to the next thing I told you, less and less of the non-software problems of the world hinder the progress of software people. This is also incredibly interesting. Let's look at one of the problems that is not software. Building a data center. Look at this guy. He's pretty smug. He feels pretty good. He just built out a data center for his company. Look at the problems he had to solve. He had to buy hardware, networks, racks, HVAC, power. He had to solve real estate problems. Right? He had to hedge the real estate markets to figure out if they plop their data center here and grow 100x over the next 5 years, if they're still going to be able to yada yada, right? This is definitively not how software people think about it. In fact, quite the opposite. Here's what software people now have. Software people use EC2. Why? Because you make a pure software call, an API call. You say, give me a server, and 20 seconds later, you got a server. That's a pure software version of spinning up a data center. Let's look at another example. Here's the typical telecom closet that you guys probably all have in your offices. So when you stand that up, you're solving hardware problems, professional services, you're negotiating carrier contracts. You've got lawyers involved. Lawyers are not software, very clearly, right? This is not software, and contrasted with that, you get the pure software solution in what Twilio does, right? We make one line of code possible to make the phone calls, buy phone numbers, receive phone calls, and do all the business logic, right? That's the pure software approach. You jettison all the headaches of the non-software world. And so we are software people. This is why I say our time is now. And it's so important. This is the best time ever. Why? User expectations have changed. So it's not just that it's fun to be a software person, you have to be a software person. Why is user expectations changing? You've got these great experiences as consumers. Google, Apple products, Facebook, right? These products are fabulous. We adopt them, we run to them because they are a great user experience. And this same user experience is going to be expected in every product that we use, whether as consumers, small businesses, or enterprises. That is the expectation. That is where the bar is. And you see this in Harley Manning of Forrester Research says the only source of competitive advantage is one that can survive a technology-fueled disruption. And that is an obsession with customer experience. Every realm of business, this is true. And so what this means going forward for software people and for infrastructure, which is we no longer, as companies, we do not get brownie points for using servers. We get brownie points for serving our users. That's what it's going to come down to, clear and simple. So as companies, we need to focus on the user. We focus on the user, or you're in serious risk of losing to someone who does. And that's what software people do incredibly well. Why do software people move fast and focus on their users? Well, they have to. We have to iterate quickly. We ship constantly. We're getting feedback from customers constantly. So you're going to have to become one of these or lose to someone who is. That's how you should think about your companies, the people you're investing in. And what's so interesting is why is that? Why is that the case? Well, software people are used to this world where your competition is closer than ever before. Think about it. On the internet, your competition is literally a click away on Google. And so that's why software people focus so relentlessly on customer experience. Because if you don't provide what your customers want, they will bounce and they'll find someone else who does very efficiently. And for those people who grew up in the age of the internet, that's what we're accustomed to. And that's the standard. That's what we've gotten very good at, right? So there's another interesting example as well. Even if you are not a software company, there's all sorts of reasons why you need to be software people. Let's think about social media for a second. How many of you guys remember that story about United breaks guitars? Right? United shipped that guy's guitar, and he saw the guy throwing it, and the guitar was broken, and they wouldn't compensate him, so he made this video that went viral on YouTube talking about how horrible United was. And what's so interesting about this experience is that, how many times has United shipped a guitar uneventfully? Right? Very many times they've shipped a guitar without an incident. But now with social media, it only takes one screw up, and you've got yourselves a big PR issue, right? That's the amplifying effect of the internet. So what's so interesting is you need to create a customer experience 100% of the time that is on. Organizations going forward are going to be measured by the customer experience they create at scale for every single customer. And what's so interesting is that only software people can do that. Only software people can create that kind of experience. So that is why I believe in software people. We are the army of ones and zeros. We are rebuilding the world through this lens of software. Industry after industry, we are changing. And we are thinking, using this lens of software, saying, how can software solve this problem? And changing the world every single day. No industry is safe. We are software people, and therefore we are going to win. Thank you very much. I'm Jeff. Appreciate it.